So today we're going to do a little experiment. So I've been talking about these jiu-jitsu gis made by Origin for the last couple days, or the last week or two or whatever it is it's been. And what I want to do today is I want to test out its ability to, one, how fast it dries, and also how much water it holds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this thing into the washer with one of my other gis that is a traditional pearl weave. It's one that I had made some years back. And then I'm going to test it to the Origin gi, which is this new pearl weave that they've made, which it looks like the pearl weave, but it's a little different. And I'm going to see, one, when I pull it out of the wash, how much heavier is it in comparison to what it was when it went into the wash. And then afterwards, I'm going to put it into the dryer and see which one dries faster. So let's take a look at these gis and let's see which one holds more water and which one dries faster. So here are the two gis we're going to be sort of matching up with one another. The first one here is the Origin gi that I had made several years ago, the original sort of Chewjitsu prototype, so I could try out the gi, and it feels pretty light. And then this is a gi that I had made for my coaches back in 2019, and this is a pretty slick looking gi. I still like it. It feels a little heavier, and again, this gi is basically based off of the traditional pearl weave that pretty much everybody uses for their gis. So I'm going to measure these two up, and I'm going to weigh myself with them first to see how much they weigh. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the wash. After the wash, I'm going to take them out, see how much they weigh afterwards so we can see what the weight difference is. And then afterwards, I'll put them into the dryer on high heat, and we'll see how they do as far as drying and which one dries faster. All right, first things first, let's see how much I weigh right now. Of course. I don't really use this scale down here in our guest bath very often, and so of course it's dead on batteries. Let me go upstairs and grab the other scale real quick. All right, there we go. So with this camera and me stepping on, let's see how much the Chewjitsu weighs. 205. And because, I don't know if you guys do this, because I'm kind of weird about it, I always weigh myself a couple times, especially before competitions when I'm getting ready to make weight. I always want to make sure that my weight's on by making sure I weigh myself multiple times, especially if the weight's close. You know, if it's not close, I don't worry about it. So let's do it again. $206. Pound difference. Let's do a third time then, huh? I think it may have gotten stuck into one of the little crevices here. So I think the first time it was a little off. It feels like it's more stable now. Okay. Yes, 2.206. I think the first time it was kind of over there, and that's why it was hovering. So I weigh 206 with just me and the camera. First up is going to be the Origin gi, and I don't know if this is how you guys do it. Typically, when I am, if the weight cut's really tight, like when I'm weighing myself at home to see if I'm on weight, I'll hold my clothes or whatever it is I'm going to wear when I compete, or what I've got to weigh in at, and then I'll weigh myself. So let's check it out. I'm going to see what my weight is now with the Origin gi. So 3.2 pounds is what this thing is saying for the Origin gi. So 3.2 pounds for the Origin. Let's see what my other gi weighs in at. So I was surprised to see that the gis weigh basically almost the same. I mean, the weight difference is negligible, so very small. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these things into the washer. I'm going to see what they come out as, and then I'm going to weigh myself with the gis again to see how much moisture has absorbed into that gi. And this is just to see how well it holds onto the water and how well it sort of moves it out. And then afterwards we'll dry it, and then we'll see which one dries faster. And for all you dirty bastards out there, make sure you wash your belts at least every now and again. Again, if you start getting some funk smell on your belt, that's not skill, that's not victory, it's bacteria, and that's no bueno. So while I'm waiting for those gis to wash, I'm going to do my HRV reading for the morning. I don't know if I've talked about it much, but I've started wearing a heart rate monitor again during my training. I used to do it a bit a few years ago, and I've started doing it a bit more as I'm coming back to training. I basically had about a month off from training on any regular basis with jiu-jitsu, with cardio type stuff. And so as I'm getting back into it, I'm really trying to hit certain parameters and sort of like at times push myself a little harder and at other times back off a little bit depending on my heart rate and my HRV score. And I think Jess and I are going to ride horses today. So I don't know, maybe I'll take the camera around and show you guys a little bit of that. We've started doing lessons because again, we've got the horse and stuff like that. And so she's like, hey, let's start doing it together. And I've actually like enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it was, because I grew up in the city, and so horses kind of it's this giant, powerful animal that it's so crazy. I mean, like they're so strong and so powerful, and then yet they're at times they can be so docile and fragile. But again, when you're on top, when you're on this big ball of muscle, it's different, right? Like when you ride a horse, and I know anybody that's ridden a horse, you have this. It gives you a different appreciation. Like when you're watching someone ride a horse, even if it's just like a movie scene where they're riding across, it gives you such a different appreciation for how tough that is to actually ride and ride smoothly. But we've been doing that. It's been a lot of fun. So we'll probably go out there and go out and ride a bit today. Just word of warning, if you ever do decide to take up horse riding lessons, don't do leg day and then do horse riding lessons. I did that like a few weeks ago, and my legs were trashed for like half a week. It was ridiculous. So Jess and I are here to do our lesson, and then I'll get back to the geese. So we've got a hold of some lightly used boots, and we're gonna put them on because I've been wearing tennis shoes, but tennis shoes are not designed for horse riding. So we're gonna try these boots on and see how they feel. You guys can watch us ride horses. Okay. So we got Tap, Bubbles, and then Mick, the big guy. Oh, he's starting to get furry. Starting to get his, you can feel the hair starting to grow in. There's our buddy. Hey, Kate.
How's it going?
Good. Recording, petting the horses. Cutting around.
Look up.
Riding a horse, like for any of you guys, I'm sure like those of you that ride horses, it's a lot like jiu-jitsu, like where there's this intuitive sense, like where you've got like the muscle moving around, like you can almost just like if you're underneath someone, you can almost feel someone's body get ready to like push up and bridge or whatever. You can feel like the horse is getting ready to do something, like if they're getting ready to jump or start moving, you can feel the muscles like sort of tense up and then it goes. So it's super interesting.
He's getting fancy.
What kind of dismount is that? Is that something you saw on TikTok?
No. Yeah.
Nice.
See what?
And
I don't expect you to canter or anything like that. Trot maybe a few steps once you get comfortable, but
sure. Yeah,
I don't expect you to canter in the saddle because it'll pop you in the nuts.
Sure. Went horse riding, and then obviously we got back, ate some food. Again, for some of you guys that actually ride horses, I'm sure you're aware of this, but I was not. Again, being from the city, riding wears you out. Like I get so my legs get so tired because you're in this different position. Again, very much like jiu-jitsu, when you start doing it like as a beginner like me, you start using muscles you're not used to using, and so it wears you out. Anyway, I'm back here at the house. I'm weighing at about 206 right now. So now I'm going to go grab the geese. I'm going to weigh them, and I'm going to see if there's any discernible difference between the two. And then afterwards, we'll see which one dries faster. So first one, we're going to weigh the traditional pearly gi that I have. So about 4.6 pounds. So it's gone up. It's about a pound worth of wetness. And like the gi, I'm gonna let Jess fill it in just a second. The gi top and pants, they feel so much more wet than my Origin. Now the Origin gi, let's test this one out. About the same, a little bit more weight, but so this one's actually holding a lot more water on it. I literally could probably put this on right now. The pants are a little bit more damp because it's just like a twill fabric. I want you to compare the two. I want you to just touch. She's going to touch real quick. So you feel this one?
That feels dry.
Feels pretty dry, doesn't it? Like that just came out of the wash. All right, now feel this one. It's like soggy and damp. So that's what I was talking about. Like, so it's super interesting because, like, again, they just came out of the wash, and this one is like heavier, obviously a little bit, nothing crazy, but like if I was to hand this to you, like you'd be like, oh, I could probably wear this one. This one's like a soggy mess. And again, think about that when you're training. This one's soaking up all the fabric or soaking up all the water. Now, again, by the way, I still like this gi, and I'll still rock this gi from time to time, but on those like hot training sessions, I really like this gi. So now, I mean, we've already kind of know which one's going to dry faster, but I'm going to see which one gets to like bone dry. I'm going to see how long it takes me to get this sucker bone dry, and then we'll compare the times between the two, and that'll conclude our little vlog and our little test today. So, after about 15 minutes of high heat, which, isn't that much, the Origin is bone dry, ready to go. I could take it out and roll with it now. The other gi is pretty much there too. It's a little damp, so I would probably want to dry it a little bit more. But that's it. So that's our little experiment today. So the Origin gis, which I have currently available for pre-order, you can look down below if you're interested. Again, I give a couple of bonuses away with the gi, with like a journal and everything else. But anyway, if you're interested, and I was curious because I was like, man, I feel like the thing sheds water so much faster and it keeps me cooler during hot training sessions. And so I just wanted to sort of see like how much difference is it compared to a normal gi. And it's a bit, it doesn't seem like a lot, but again, that's a lot of moisture that sort of clogs up and doesn't allow you to breathe, your skin to breathe, and your sweat to evaporate. And that's, if you guys didn't know, that's why sweat cools us down. Basically, the sweat pulls up to the surface of our skin, and then when the sweat evaporates, it takes with it the heat. This is why if you go into a really humid room or a really humid temperature or a climate, your sweat pulls up on you and you don't get as cool faster, right? So for instance, if you go to a drier climate, you sweat just as much, if not more, right? But the thing is that water is evaporating so fast. But then you come down here or to the south in the United States, and I mean, it gets so humid and it just sticks to you, and that's because the moisture is in the air. And so again, if your body's just encapsulated in this big jacket of moisture, it's not going to be able to breathe as fast. And that's just something I've noticed from training with it. If you're one of those people that like hates wearing the gi because it's so darn hot in the summer, I totally understand. Having that gi, it's been really nice, and I was just curious, like, does this actually do anything? And so it did a little something. So anyway, that was my little experiment, and you guys got to see me riding some horses and stuff too. So that's that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And again, if you have any questions about the gis, if you want to grab one before the pre-order's up, check the links down below, and I'll talk to you guys next time.